Hello, everybody, and welcome along. This is a very special coaches chat with four of the world's best coaches in the game here today as we build up to the Arnold Clark Cup, which we are really looking forward to. Kicks off on February the 17th in Middlesbrough, and our very special guest today, I'm delighted to say that joining us now, Bev Priestman, who's the coach for Canada. Hello to Bev. Jorge Vilda from Spain, Martina Voss-Tecklenburg from Germany, and Serena Bigman from England. Ladies and gents, it's just lovely to have you along. We rarely get to do this, so it's a real pleasure and a real privilege for us to be able to speak to you all at the same time. We thought we'd do things a little bit differently today and chat about what the fans might want to hear about, and also give a bit of a sneak peek into what we can expect from your teams, because now we've seen the squads, we know what we might expect, but we want to hear what you think of your players as well and what we can expect from them. We're going to open it up to you coaches as well, in case you had any questions for each other. Which one maybe get a little bit more information out of each other before the event actually starts. So feel free to take the floor yourselves as well. But I'm going to get us kicked off really, because I just want to know each of your thoughts ahead of the tournament, what you think about this event and how your preparations are going. And Serena, I suppose because England are the host nation for this, why don't we start with you?
Sure, no problem. Well, obviously we were very excited to start this tournament, playing three top countries in the world. And for us, a good test to know where we really are, because we had a very good autumn in September, October, November. But now we get different opponents in front of us, very good opponents. And so it's a good test for us. And then after the tournament, we probably know where we are and what we have to do to prepare for the Euros.
Bev, what about you? Because you guys have had such success recently. What does this tournament represent for you, and how are your preparations going?
Yeah, I think for us, it's the start of a new journey. I think we got back from the Olympics and, you know, you have a celebration tour and all that sort of, the things that probably as a coach, you just want to move on and start the new chapter and the new journey. So for us, it is that, it's the start towards the Women's World Cup qualification. And yeah, like an unbelievable tournament for us to take part in. I think we have recognised a gap, I think, in terms of European opposition for Canada historically in Women's World Cup. So like this tournament was really fitting for where we need to head. And, you know, for this tournament particularly, we'll have some players in season in Europe, some players out of season in NWSL. So it'll be a great starting point. And I think we'll grow through the tournament and make some learnings and adjustments to help us move forward.
And Martina, same question to you.
Yeah, hello. 3 Spiele in kurzer Zeit gegen
more of the same for me. I'm greatly looking forward to this tournament. I'm very happy for the EFA to have arranged some top caliber opposition in the pre-Euro phase. For us, it's just the right moment. It'll be, I'm keen to see where we stand as a team, and 3 matches to be played in very short space of time will be quite a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it.
Jorge, do you share that, the chance to pit your team about 3 of the best other teams in the world at the moment? Is that something that you're looking forward to?
Bueno, tenemos 3 de las mejores selecciones del mundo.
That this is, you're coming up against some of the best teams in the world, and it's the ultimate preparation that there is going to be for probably the best Euros in the history of the competition. And he's excited to step onto English territory and come up against, you know, the best teams.
Dificultades distintas que nos van a venir muy bien para la preparación.
Serena, I wanted to ask about the England team and the squad that you've put out, and if you could tell us a bit about your selection, because you are fairly new to your job still, and you're still getting to know these players and seeing them in various different tournaments. Now you get to see them against some real quality opposition. What made you pick the players that you have, and do you feel like you've got a good mix in there?
Yes, I think so. We have obvious that I followed the players already when I was a manager of the Dutch national team. So I knew them, but not having worked with them. So when I came in September, I was happy, well, not surprised, but it was even better than I thought. So the willingness, the togetherness, the level of training sessions was so high. And I think we all also showed a very good level in the matches. I think the FA or our colleagues at the FA really helped. They knew the players very well, so they helped us inform even better about the players. And I think throughout the months, we got to know them better, watching them, having them in our camps too. And I don't think we have missed anyone yet. I think it's also very good that the under-23 team started. So the players from the development are being selected too for the under-23 team. But now when we go on, we need these top level games to see where we really are, because then you get exposed at the highest level. It's also an opportunity because we played 3 games in 6 days to have lots of players playing minutes to see how they relate, what their level is, and how as a team we can grow too. So I think this tournament will be very beneficial, and it will also give so much more information about us, where we are, and an opportunity to develop our style of play.
Bev, what's the preparation like for this? Are you drilling into the girls that it's the same as any other major tournament, or are you treating it like more of an invitation where you know that it's really just to test your teams out?
Yeah, I think, it has to be a blend of, it's top 10 opposition. We have to approach it. We want to win. I think that's the nature of anyone who wants to continually win. I think you have to approach every game like that. But I do think, you'd be naive and you waste an opportunity to not learn and grow from this and see some new faces and some new things, approach this tournament with an opportunity to try some new things and build on previous tournaments. So I think for us it'll be a blend of starting that journey, implement some learnings from the Olympics, and know that what we did in the Olympics isn't going to allow us to win in 2 years' time, and we are going to have to adapt and continue to move forward.
Martina, for you, are you wanting to rotate these players as much as you can, or would you rather keep your best 11 and see them play more?
Well, unfortunately, we do not have the best players available. There will always be some injuries, unavoidable. Plus, there's a full women's Bundesliga weekend waiting. So if the worst comes to the worst, we will have more injuries. And you never know what the COVID situation presents you with. So there are a few caveats. But having said all that, I think we have a great team together, which is raring to go. As far as preparations are concerned and tournament outlook, I think we've got to focus on ourselves. And just like Serena said, post Arnold Clark Cup, we know where we stand and what kind of work we have to do in the run-up to the real thing, in inverted commas, the Euros in England.
Jorge, a similar question to you as well. Just wondered what the mindset was from you to your team, the message that you'll be giving them for this tournament and its importance.
Sí, bueno, el mensaje es
it's the same message as always, to keep a good image of the team, to continue the same process that they've had over the same couple of years, to grow and grow in the national team, and for the players to have the confidence to be able to come out and compete against the top teams.
De que podemos competir contra cualquier equipo, y eso es lo que queremos demostrar en este torneo.
Serena, how important is it, do you think, to implement, because you've been a winning manager at the highest level and you understand what that can do for a team, how important is it to get that winning mentality into a side, especially ahead of a big tournament?
Well, I think every player, every staff member in an environment we work in, I think that counts for every coach here in this interview, that everyone wants to win. I don't think it has to do with winning mentality. It has to do with, well, it does have to do with really wanting to win. But what I've experienced with all the players I worked with, that they really want to win, is just to find the way. How do we want to win? What's our plan? What is our strategy? What can we get on our path where we need to adapt or be agile or creative, especially now in COVID times, of course, also. But yes, it's just, the game is growing so much. Jorge already said that too. I think this tournament in this summer is going to be the biggest event in women's football in Europe ever. The level is growing so much, and there's so many teams that can win this tournament. That's really exciting already. So it's really unpredictable. It's just that you want to be at the best level you can be. What makes the chance of winning the highest as possible. And yeah, then sometimes you have an extra % to make to change the game in a winning game.
Bev, I wanted to ask you, because we've seen such a growth in this country alone, people coming to watch the games live, people watching it on TV. There are much more rights holders as well. Sky have got involved with the Women's Super League here. And there'll be people that are watching this as well now that might not know a lot about the other teams that are taking part, might only know about England. So Bev, can you tell us a few of your players that we should be looking out for, those danger players, and also the style of play that you like to implement?
Yeah, I think obviously most people would know Christine Sinclair, and you would have seen, unfortunately, she won't be joining us in the tournament. She lost her mum recently, and so obviously is staying home with family at this difficult time. But yeah, I think a lot of our players in Europe, you know, and Ashley Lawrence, Kadisha Buchanan, both in France. You've got Jessie Fleming, who's been doing great at Chelsea. For those European fans. Yeah, I think, you know, some up and coming, relatively young, I would say it's a relatively young group, but who have many caps. We've invested in tournaments and cap accumulation at a young age in Canada. So these players have a lot of experience under the belt that they can bring in, and probably are ahead of the years in terms of experience, but relatively young in age. So yeah, players who play in Champions League, there'll be some familiar faces for sure on display at the tournament.
Martina, the same for you, really. Who are those danger women that the other coaches will know very well, obviously, because they've already done their homework, but tell some of our viewers who we should be looking out for from your team.
Ja, wir haben, glaube ich, in den letzten 2-3 Jahren.
Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've invested a lot of time and effort in setting ourselves the right kind of principles and conveying a clear idea of a match plan. And I think slowly but surely our players are beginning to grasp exactly that. I think the major challenge for this tournament will be, or the main question that we pose ourselves is, how are our players going to react when they're really put under pressure in terms of the opposition we play against, in terms of the spectators, they'll be played to full stadiums, I hope, and in terms of the expectations from outside. In other words, will we be able to take our game to the opposition, whatever league, figuratively speaking, they play in? So basically, in terms of a match plan, we will focus on our own game, try and be dynamic, active, and play high-intensity football. That's going to be Germany 2022.
Sehr dynamisch, sehr aktiv, aber auch sehr kompakt und geschlossen mit einer hohen Intensität.
Jorge, if that's Germany 2022, what is Spain 2022?
Sí, por la imagen que venimos trabajando en los últimos.
It's mostly same, more the same that we've been working on in the last 15 years. We've had a style of play that's been uniform throughout all the national teams and the younger teams as well. We've also grown in how we understand football and how we implement our game plan. And now we have an absolute national team where we have players from different teams and from different backgrounds, and we've been able to have that in an absolute national team where we're all uniformed and we're all a big family. And the best part of everything is that we still have a lot to grow and we still have a lot to work on. But coming into this tournament, we just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and we're a big family.
Un equipo que funcionen como un equipo y vivir estas concentraciones y este torneo como una familia.
We are in this country quite enjoy knowing things about discipline within coaching setups. So we know that Frank Lampard is obviously massive in this country, former Chelsea midfielder, former manager now, and he's gone back into management with Everton. And since he's gone back into management, he's imposed a different set of fines that they're not used to. So a system of discipline, if they're late, for example, or if they turn up with jewelry on and things like that. I just was quite interested to find out what your systems of discipline are like, and whether there are some terrible offenders or whether everyone's quite well behaved. Serena, maybe we start with the English girls.
Well, it's the same as it's a little similar wanting to win in this environment. well, I had no trouble at all with discipline. Everyone's in time. Everyone wants to be in time. For us, it's actually just creating an environment in which everyone can be herself, have her own identity, and but behave within a certain framework. It's just that we really want to treat each other with respect. That's how we relate to each other. And on the pitch, we're just competing and setting real high standards to make sure we become better every day. And we're learning, we're making mistakes and trying to get better, and we accept mistakes. And the only thing in the beginning when I started, some of the players did wear some jewelry. So I first asked them why they did, and then I asked them to take it off because I think it's dangerous. And so they did, and we never had an issue. It was no problem at all. But I think I feel privileged. I can work with top players. I have worked with top players. I'm still working with top level players, and they're so committed that actually the word discipline, I haven't had any issues with that.
Martina, I can see you nodding along to this, because the German system is quite known for being very good with the discipline and regimented. Is that what you're like as a manager?
Yes, of course, you do need discipline, a certain degree of it. But at the end of the day, I'm not about discipline, but about creativity and individualism. Make or strengthen the strength, if that's clear enough in English. Make people or fortify people's strengths. That's my coaching philosophy is all about. Obviously, you need a secure framework within the team, a secure environment. People have to be courageous, or if you put it the other way around, don't have to be afraid to make mistakes, because you grow and get better after making mistakes, and of course improving. If you ask me, for my taste, sometimes my players are almost too timid and too well behaved on the pitch. So I hope that'll change and they toughen up a little bit.
I want to know a little bit more about you guys as well as individuals and coaches, because we focus a lot on the players and their mental preparation and their physical preparation. But I imagine the job of being a coach can be incredibly draining. So in terms of Bev, how you keep yourself healthy and how you keep your mind focused, what do you do before matches and before training sessions to keep yourself grounded?
Yeah, I think probably all of the coaches on the call would say that you have an unbelievable support staff around you. That would be the first thing. I think what I realized very early is you can't be everything to everyone, and know my strengths and use the people around me to lift me up probably in moments. So, you know, often we're the face of the team, but there's a whole big team behind us. I think a couple of things for me is like exercise. So I have to work out, you know, a game day nap is a big thing for me if it's an evening game. But I also think like routine is critical. It's the same as a player. You have like high performance habits. So, you know, by the time I got to the Olympics, I knew on match day -1, that's the day I get my energy back. If they don't know it then they're never going to know it by then. And so I have sort of set routines on a match day lead-in, where days might be a bit heavier. So if we look at this tournament, match day +1 is going to be a heavy turnaround for all of us. You know that it's going to be a draining day, but you know the next day, that's a day you get your energy back and you plan it accordingly as part of your routine.
I find that really interesting, because I imagine as well as coaches, I mean, you mentioned the words high performance there. There must be a lot of science that goes into your style and to get yourself to that elite level as well. And I suppose as well, Jorge, I wanted to ask you about some of the influences that perhaps have come in through your upbringing. So as you've grown up and you've wanted to be a coach, who are those coaches that you look to? Were there any, especially some of the Spanish ones as well, that are so competitive in the game and so successful? Who were your influences?
Bueno, lo primero es que me siento.
He says he's been privileged in the fact that he's been able to be around a lot of greats. Particularly his dad was always involved in professional football, so he's been able to be around historical coaches like Johan Cruyff, for example, Vicente del Bosque, all these little links up, gotten through his father, and then growing up, obviously now, especially through the Spanish FA, he's around Luis Enrique. So all of these greats have been an influence on his coaching.
Aprender muchísimas cosas.
It doesn't get much better than Johan Cruyff, is it? Wow. Martina, do you on match days?
Don't forget Luis Aragonés too. Don't forget Luis Aragonés. It's important too.
Martina, on match days, when you would expect players to get nervous, do coaches still get nervous?
Ja.
Do I still get nervous? Yes, absolutely. But that's part of the game, but not in the sense of feeling jittery or unprepared because you haven't done your homework, more because of a sense of anticipation that things really get going. I simply love coaching. I love standing on the sidelines and probably training even more than actual matches, because that's where you can really exert your influence coaching-wise. I just try to be a positive companion for my players, especially when the going gets tough. So I try and steer them back onto the right course and try and convert whatever tension I feel into positive energy for my team.
What's the hardest part of coaching these days, Serena, would you say now?
Oh, the hardest part. I think that the game has been growing very much. There's so many different things going on that sometimes the distraction is a thing, or could be a thing. So that's what I think is sometimes hard. Well, this has to do with preparing too, and trying to manage expectations. What I personally find hard about coaching is that there's a moment when the game starts and you're all prepared, you've done your job, you just have to relax, cool down, and you don't have control anymore. And you can't control, but you really want to play well, you really want to win, but you never know because the opponent is very good too. I found that hard. So I'm then ready to go. Let's get started and play, and then you'll see where it goes.
And Bev, the flip side of that question, I suppose, is what's the best part of coaching? What keeps you motivated to keep going every day?
I think seeing the potential in players and trying to realize the potential in players and staff. You know, I think growth and investment, and you see something, you see a moment that it clicks with someone. I think that's definitely probably the biggest and most rewarding part of the job, where they, you know, when you're low on energy, you have a conversation with a player or you see something that gives you all of the energy back you need by the time you're on game 3 against Spain in this tournament. Hopefully that happens.
We've almost run out of time, so this is a question for all of you to answer. I just want to know who you're most looking forward to playing. So obviously you're all in the room together now, well via Zoom. So a real round-robin question for all of you. Why don't we start with you, Jorge? Who are you most looking forward to playing?
Con las tres.
He can't choose one. He has to say all three for different reasons. He thinks that all three present different difficulties presented to the Spanish national team. At any moment, they can produce a cross, a goal, a pass that's exceptional, and they have top world-class players. And he sincerely believes that all three national teams have really high-class managers, that he can learn different things from all three of them.
Del que también espero aprender cosas en este torneo.
I imagine that's going to be the answer for everybody. No one's going to pick out one individual, isn't it? Martina, just a similar question really for you about the quality that you can come up against now. And in your time coaching, these 4 teams that are now going to be in the Arnold Clark Cup and the level that the women's game has got to, how much growth have you seen in your time as a coach?
Well, maybe we can say when we were players too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, a long time ago.
Serena, I've actually.
I'm sorry, that was not my question.
No,
I was thinking we played each other, didn't we?
Well, tell us about that. That's an even better answer.
Well, we once played each other when we were both captains.
Wow, you and Martina.
Yeah, someone sent me a picture. I didn't remember. I'm sorry.
Wow.
But that's a long time ago. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, 30 years ago, or not,
Yeah.
more longer. So.
Oh. I mean, it's a brilliant way of answering it then, because Serena, I was reading about you where you actually started playing when you were very young, and there were certain things that actually stopped you playing, or tried to stop you playing, I suppose.
Yeah, they never stopped me playing. I think, well, except for George, he was always be able to play, which is very nice. But I think we all managers nowadays that are above 40, I think, we had hard times to play. And in Germany, it was a lot better than it was in the Netherlands. In England, it was, I think, a little better too. But we had to, we had to go through boundaries. But as you see where we are now and what we have been lived through is just so exciting to know where we are now. And we still have a long way to go. But it's really exciting to be part of it and to contribute to that.
You share that, Martina, those thoughts?
Yeah.
I've played football since I was 15 and earned my first cap for Germany age 16. I'm 54 now and still part of the game. So just like Serena said, I think it's a huge privilege to be able to witness the development that we've seen. And that development basically has seen players become full professional, which on the other hand has allowed them to live and enjoy an environment that is conducive to high performance, that allows them to be role models for their peers and for all women in society, that they can do anything if only we want to. I think another improvement is that we're now playing to an audience of millions of people. When I was a young player, I dreamed of getting that kind of privilege. I mean, I've played in the World Cup and in previous European Championships, and I think in terms of commitment and outlook, yes, we were professional, but the conditions, the framework was definitely not, and that has changed magnificently. I'm absolutely happy that many nations have made considerable investment into women's football, into the women's game. And I think we're going to see the fruit of all that, not only in this tournament, but in tournaments to come. And I wish for lots of spectators to be able to witness either live or in front of their tellies that we've come a long way.
What a brilliant way to sum it up. I couldn't agree more. And it's a privilege for us as well to be involved, and for everyone at home watching. I know how much we're all going to enjoy this. Thank you, because you four are probably the busiest people in the world right now. We appreciate your time. So it was lovely to talk to you. Serena, Bev, Jorge, Martina, good luck to you and your teams as well. Four of the best teams in women's football, all against each other. We can't wait. Thank you everyone at home for watching as well. You can still get your tickets to come along and watch, or you can watch on TV too on ITV. It's the Arnold Clark Cup. It kicks off on February the 17th. So we will see you in Middlesbrough. Thanks for watching.